Why do we use Eclipse? The main reason is we want to edit Java code, right? So that's the reason why we use Eclipse. And in this particular step, we would learn a lot of things about editing Java code. The first thing is, the first shortcut is Control M. Control M maximizes and minimizes. So you are seeing now the window getting maximized and getting minimized. So that's possible through Control M or Command M. So you can maximize and minimize. Now let's remove this line and try to type it in again. So I want to use system. So system, I pressed. So I want to bring up system class. So one of the things I can do is just type in sys and press control space bar. Control space bar would bring up the options. It's suggesting these are the probable classes which you might be thinking about. So I would choose one of them by pressing enter. So I choose the first one. So system, and then type in dot. It brings up the list of options. Eclipse suggests what are the different things that you can use. So system dot, what you are seeing in here at the start is what are the variables which you can use as well as the methods you can use. I want to do out. So I type in out dot print and press enter. Eclipse is suggesting to use one of the overridden functions of print. It's suggesting to use boolean, but you can type in anything. So that's the basic way you can bring up different methods and different fields which are present in a class. You can just type in dot and then it would bring it up directly. The thing which we are using in here is a control space. Control and space together. So any place you can type a control space and you can bring this whole thing up. So let's try control space one more time. So I would want to use a big decimal. So I'll say big and control space. You see there's a big decimal coming up, and now I can again press control space after the whole thing came up. You can also see that the import happened automatically. So the Eclipse is automatically doing the import. So I would do a control Z, big, control space. I'm pressing enter now, and you'd see that the import automatically happens. This is called auto suggestion. When I'm typing big decimal, now you can also see there's an error coming up. So what Eclipse is saying is, it's saying there's an error, insert semicolon to complete the block statement. Actually what we want to do is we want to create a new big decimal variable. So I can say big decimal num and press control space again, and you can choose which constructor you would want to use. I would want to use big decimal with 0. If you leave the semicolon out, Eclipse is already showing you an error again. So semicolon. Okay, whatever we have looked at until now are kind of very basic things. Control space is kind of, if you have worked with Eclipse for more than a day, I think control space becomes natural to you. So any place you want to type in and you want to expand further, I type in big and I want to know what options are there, I press control space. So control space is kind of the most basic editing options. The other most basic editing option is control 1. So you can type in control 1, Eclipse comes up with a list of options. So control space is auto suggestion. So control space is basically tell me what are the things that are present in Java which I can make use of. So, or tell me what are the things which are already existing in this project which I can make use of. That's control space. Control 1 is a little different. Control 1 or command 1 is to suggest what are my actions from here. So it's saying either I can change to big decimal, or it can even go ahead and create a class big for you. So now I can say create class big. You'd see that Eclipse would come up with a different thing. Now it's saying class big, and now I can click OK. It would create the class big for me. We didn't really want to create the big class. We can go ahead and delete this. What I wanted actually to use is the big decimal class itself. So let's go ahead and change to that. So that's command 1. Let's type in new big decimal of 0. And now I'm pressing control 1 again. You'd see that there are a few suggestions coming up. It's saying either assign it to a local variable. I can do that. So now it's automatically creating a new variable for me. Now I can say big decimal number is equal to new big decimal. Or the other option I had was, as soon as it created this, it's saying assign statement to a new field. So what it does, it creates a field in the class. It's creating a private static big decimal and assigning it in here. Let's say main was not declared static. Let's say main was not a static thing, and now I'm doing this. What would happen? Assign to a new field, and now you'd see that this is not a static field. Because main was static, main is a static function, it tried to make this whole thing static because you cannot access instance variables in a static method. Let's go ahead and go back to where we were. What we are really looking at is the fact that control space and control 1 are kind of the most basic editing features in Eclipse. So any place you have a question or you don't know what to do, you can press control 1, and control 1 can give you what are the options that you can do. So whenever there's a compilation error, press control 1 and it can come up with a list of options that you can use in there. Try practicing control 1 and control space. Try practicing control 1 and control space in different scenarios, and I would see you in the next step.